Do you think you can make your grass greener with a 3D printer? Because today, I am going to show you exactly how you can design and print a custom lawnmower accessory that will help your lawn grow healthier and greener over time. But first, we need to talk about why my legs used to be covered in grass when mowing the lawn. If you know anything about lawn care, you know that to keep grass healthy, it needs nitrogen. It is the most important ingredient in expensive lawn feeds. But the absolute best free source of nitrogen is actually the grass offcuts themselves. Unless it is the very first spring cut, the best thing you can do is to stop using a collector basket and leave the offcuts to recirculate that nitrogen back into the ground. Some premium mowers are designed for this. My cheap mower? Definitely not. It wasn't designed to allow me to spread the offcuts. For over a decade, my free workaround was to take a small piece of wood and physically jam the back flap open so the grass could fly out. The problem? As I pushed the mower, I was standing directly in the firing line. I would finish mowing completely covered in grass. In the spring, when the grass is thicker and full of water, my trousers and socks would be permanently stained. I finally decided I had enough. I used my 3D printer to solve this issue once and for all by designing a custom grass chute. And along the way, I discovered some incredible design hacks that will elevate your 3D printing skills. This was actually the very first complex shape I ever designed myself, just weeks after I started my 3D printing journey. It was designed to keep the flap open and channel the grass safely back towards the ground, keeping my legs clean. Initially, I was incredibly impressed with it. But over a few months of real-world use, I realized it had 4 massive shortcomings that were driving me crazy. If we are going to evolve our DIY skills, we have to learn from our failures. Let's break them down. Issue number 1. The opening was just too small. During heavy spring cut with thick grass, it simply couldn't handle the volume. It would literally get blocked tight within just one single row of mowing. Issue number 2. To save material, I originally made the walls only 1 mm thick. I figured grass is soft and vibration is minimal, so it would be fine. I was wrong. As grass built up and I tried to scrape it off, the thin walls unfortunately cracked in a couple of places. Issue number 3. The aerodynamics were completely wrong. The offcuts don't exit the mower straight. They are forced out sideways. Because of the shape of my chute, the grass was hitting the left side, bunching up and dropping in a thick line on the ground. I wasn't getting an even spread. I literally had to go over each line twice just to spread the grass properly. And finally, issue number 4. The layer lines at the top of the print came out poorly. The part just wasn't stiff enough during the printing process, which meant the layers didn't stick together perfectly. I needed version 2. I needed a bigger opening, thicker walls, redesigned curve to stop the grass bunching, and better rigidity. It was time to jump back into the design phase. Designing the chute brought an immediate challenge. How do you take precise measurements of something this weirdly shaped? Because of the awkward angles of the lawnmower, I couldn't just use a standard tape measure or my vernier gauge like I normally do. I tried taking a picture with my phone to trace the design, but because I couldn't get the camera at a perfectly flat, accurate angle, the perspective was warped. Here, look at this. This is the final design of my first chute that fit the lawnmower perfectly, layered over a photo I took. The size is way off. I needed a better way to capture the geometry of the real world. In the end, I used the simplest tool in my house, a blank sheet of paper. I took the paper, carefully aligned the edge with the bottom of the lawnmower panel, and held it firmly in place. Using a pencil, I traced and marked out all the key features, curves, and mounting points of the panel. Once I had this physical paper sketch, the rest was easy. I took one single reference measurement of my sketch with a ruler, scanned it, and then used the measurement to perfectly calibrate the image inside FreeCAD. Look at this comparison. Here's a small part of the chute next to the original paper sketch. It is absolutely spot on. This is an incredibly powerful trick for anyone struggling to replicate complex, real-world geometry in CAD. Now, this new version 2 chute is a large, heavy object. It takes a lot of material and a lot of print time. When you're designing big items, you do not want to wait 8 hours just to realize your mounting clips are slightly out of alignment. So, I used a validation technique that every beginner needs to learn. To validate my key dimensions, I printed out a very thin slice of the object to compare against the lawnmower. I imported my FreeCAD object into Bamboo Studio, and using a built-in slicing function, I literally cut a 5mm slice right off the back of the model and deleted the rest of the massive chute. This left me with a thin, wobbly U shape. To stop it from bending, I quickly added a cross brace to stiffen it up. I sent this tiny piece to the printer. Around 75% of the way through the print, I could already tell it was going to hold its shape perfectly, so I manually cancelled the print a little bit earlier. I felt that what I already had printed was enough to test the fit, and there was no point in wasting more filament on a piece of plastic that was going straight into the bin anyway. It turned out to be a good decision. The template fit perfectly, but I discovered that the bottom edge was about 5mm too long. If I had printed the full chute, that extra 5mm would have constantly caught on things while I was pushing the lawnmower. By printing a 20-minute, 5mm slice, I avoided the absolute heartbreak of ruining an 8-hour heavy-duty print. I recommend you start doing this. With the dimensions validated, I updated the final design and pulled it back into Bamboo Studio for the main event. As my 3D printing skills have evolved, I picked up a few vital slicer settings that drastically enhanced my prints. First is structural integrity. If you're new to this, the easiest way to make a part much stronger is to change the slicing profile from 0.2mm standard to 0.2mm strength. When you click this, Bamboo Studio automatically adjusts a bunch of complex settings in the background for you. For example, it increases the number of wall loops your design has and slows down how fast it puts down the layer lines. Yes, this compromise means using more material and increasing the print time, but for a part taking abuse on a lawnmower, it is absolutely necessary. Next, we have to talk about gravity. My design has two flat hooks sticking out on the sides. A 3D printer cannot print plastic in mid-air. Something needs to hold those hooks up while they print. I enabled a simple support generator in Bamboo Studio to ensure the print comes out perfect. Now, this does mean using an additional 22 grams of filament purely for the supports, which just get thrown away. As you improve your CAD skills, you learn how to design clever angles that reduce the need for supports or even your own built-in ones. In a future video, I will share some examples. The final setting change was adding pads, also known as a brim, to the bottom of the print. This chute is a tall, heavy print, and the attachment surface touching the build plate is very slim. There's always a risk that the print comes loose midway through. Adding these pads increases the surface area sticking to the plate. They use almost zero filament, but they can save a massive print from failing. The setup was ready. I thoroughly cleaned the print bed, loaded in my trusty black PLA filament, and hit print. And that's when I ran into a common 3D printing problem. I had approximately 120 grams of black filament left on my spool, but the slicer told me this heavy-duty print needed 240 grams. Now, if you have a fancy accessory like the Bamboo Lab AMS, you can load multiple spools and the machine will automatically switch them when one runs out. Unfortunately, I don't have one. I had to do a high-stakes, manual switchover right in the middle of the print. Thanks to the homemade filament scale I built, I could monitor exactly how much material I had left, giving me a very good idea when the spool was about to run dry. Here's how you do a manual swap without stopping the machine. I watched the spool, and at the very final rotation, I simply snipped the filament off. I waited for the tail end of the filament to be pulled down into the Teflon tube. Then, I took the brand new spool and fed the tip of the new filament right behind the old one. You have to monitor where the end of the old filament is traveling. When it gets near the printhead, you very gently push the new filament in as far as it goes. You have to keep steady pressure on it until you're absolutely certain that the extruder gears have grabbed the new filament and it has reached the hot end. If you're not sure, just keep feeding it with light pressure for a little bit longer to be completely safe. It worked flawlessly. The printer grabbed a new spool and was back on track to finish the job all by itself. And here it is. The final print came out incredibly good. It is strong and it fits the mounting points perfectly. I did notice one minor flaw. I observed a strange artifact around the embossed lettering on the side. Fortunately, this wasn't a big enough issue to warrant a redesign. However, it is always fascinating to see how our digital design decisions have an unexpected physical impact on the final product. But functionally, The new chute works like an absolute dream. The grass no longer gets blocked in the opening, it doesn't bunch up on the side of the mower, and most importantly, I don't have to mow the lines twice anymore, cutting down on the time to finish the garden. This was a fantastic design journey with a deeply satisfying result. I don't even have to worry about putting on my gardening trousers just to cut the grass. I hope you learned some new tricks today, and I hope it also inspires you to evolve your own DIY skills with a 3D printer. Make sure you like, subscribe, and go on make some awesome things.